All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our coffee talk today. We really don't talk a lot about coffee.
No, not as much as we should for being called coffee talk.
I realize that. And so...
it is kind of a break time for us, though. Like it's like
way.
maybe like our coffee break during the day when we're doing other stuff at our desk. But I don't know about you or what you're into these days. For some reason, my whole coffee thing has shifted. We usually drink a lot of brewed coffee, either at home or here at the church. And because like it's a lot of work, you gotta do more heating of stuff, and we don't want to keep the big machine heating all the time. So we have a little cappuccino latte espresso machine here at the church that I brought in. I'm having a lot of cappuccinos and Americanos and all kinds of stuff these days. I'm loving it. So.
If I squint hard, it kind of looks like the latte art looks a little bit like E.T. right now. I think if I kind of...
Mine looks like Megamind.
Oh.
It's like a oval head, except it's brown, not blue.
There you go. I will say, let's see. Most of the time, I'm just brewing up at home. Like it's just the standard drip. Our standard drip maker died. We got a new one in the fall. That's what we're doing. But if it's like I'm just making an extra cup for me in the afternoon, I love my mocha pot. I picked up a used one a while back, and I don't know. It just makes a nice, easy. And I feel fancy. That's a big part of it. I just I just sit there and I feel all Italian, and it's not even about the coffee as much as it's just how it makes me feel.
It makes you want to put an O on the end of every word that you say.
Yes.
Cappuccino, Americano.
Absolutely. So that's pretty good. Or the French press around here, if I'm here on my own, it comes out every now and then too, usually. But I find like with my French press, I make a French press up, and it's like there's never enough to share. Like it's not big, so I tend to just do that when I'm on my own.
Okay, so just this conversation, this is my challenge to Steve Bailey.
Ooh.
We've talked about 12 different ways that you can do coffee.
Yeah.
How many different ways do you do tea? Let's see, tea, hot water.
The boring way. That's it.
So if you can show me
drinkers out there,
if you can show me more ways to do tea than that, or you can use milk. For London Fog.
Yeah, well, I think tea latte, but that's tea drinkers' attempt at being fancy and cool. that's all that is. Oh.
So leave your angry comments below.
That's right. We'll offend all you tea drinkers.
We'll gladly receive them, and we'll change our word if you can tell us different ways. Like Frappuccino. Like you can put coffee in Slurpee. You can do iced coffee.
Yeah.
You can do.
Yeah, I know. See, and like ice cream, for example, you can get that like green tea ice cream, or like espresso flake. Like let's just put those two against each other. It's no contest. It's espresso flake all the way. But, anyways, we love you tea drinkers, and if you're watching us, hanging out with us, drinking tea, that's fine. We're glad you're coming in, tuning in, and trying to just really we're not. We're just trying to, connect with the life of the church in some ways, and make sure that as a church community outside of Sunday mornings, we're coming together in another way just to kind of enrich each other, inform one another, maybe give you something to think about a little bit. And so a couple things on those regards to talk about. Sunday night, right?
This Sunday night.
We're going to come together online and pray like we did before. I believe YouTube, we're doing
so we'll do a live stream on YouTube, so it'll be fully interactive, and so you can come with us at 6:30. And I'm going to say, because I didn't say it to other people, BC time.
Good point.
BC time, 6:30 BC
Pacific
time.
Daylight Savings Time.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a way to interact. You'll be able to not only be a part of it, but pray along with us, and you'll be able to do some live comments as well too. And we'll be doing some live prayers and stuff like that too. So we really encourage you to tune in. We realize you don't need another thing but what we want to do is really be intentional about the way that we're gathering and praying. It's so important for us to be praying these days, and to be maybe doing it together. And we're going to do it together as much as we can. And so this is as much as we can get in these days, because it's important that we're not together for the safety and health of a lot of people who would come here, and we want to keep you guys safe. We want to keep you guys healthy and strong and alive.
Absolutely.
I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah, totally. And so we will do what we can, as we've been doing, and we do that. One other thing, sorry, we're going off script a second here, because I just realized as you were talking about prayer on Sunday, it's also the first Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
Which means we want, as much as possible, to be like part of our regular rhythms and things. And so we are going to have communion on Sunday. Sunday morning. Thank you for clarifying that. So Sunday morning, when you tune in for church, if you're joining us for the service on Sunday morning, be prepared for that. And kind of like we did for Easter, if you were part of the Easter, be thinking about what you have element-wise in your house for, to represent the body and blood, or the bread, the cracker, or whatever, and juice, to participate in that way. And we'll virtually share communion together once again, because it's important for us. As much as it is a communal act, it is also an individual act. And it reminds me, when I do it, I am reminding myself that Jesus gave his body for us. And so, yes, ideally we'd be together, but if not, and you know what, like even at Easter, it was a joy to serve communion to the members of my family who were participating. Yeah. And so, you know what, if you're with your family, I encourage, one of you to really take that on and not have it be a free for all, but for one person to say, I'm going to serve my family communion today. Yeah. And be intentional about it. Don't come to it just kind of haphazard, like rummaging through I forgot communion, and you're rummaging through the cupboard going, this looks like bread. But really be intentional, be prepared, and then intend to serve. Yeah. And so I remind you about that and encourage you to be ready.
One really cool thing that I was always challenged and encouraged on is when you do it as a server, to even remind this person as you hand it to them, this represents the blood of Christ. Yes. And hand it to him. This represents the body of Christ. And even those words, it makes it not be bread and juice. It makes it not be, whatever it is that you're going to end up using. Yeah. It puts something greater on it. This is a remembrance, and so we remind each other exactly what it is we're celebrating. This is not a meal. Yeah. No, it's very good. And so we be ready for that. Sunday morning, part of our service will be communion together. And so looking forward to that. Really am. Yeah. One thing that we also want to challenge and encourage you with today, I feel like I'm using that word so much. Which? Challenge, encourage. Challenge, encourage. Yeah. Challenge, encourage. Can we blend them? Maybe. Chicourage. Chicourage, I like that. That'll work. But one thing that's kind of been laying on my heart these days is kind of just thinking twice about idle time. Yeah. So we all have our routines. We all have stuff that goes on throughout our day. When we break all those routines and we end up kind of just sitting around the house all day, we might go for a walk. We'll go do this, or we'll go do that, or we'll stay at home and we'll do what we need to do. Sometimes some really bad habits can be formed. Mm-hmm. And so I want to challenge and encourage to fight against that a little bit. One thing for me is just, turning on TV, turning on YouTube, which is funny and ironic that we're coming to you over YouTube. But is there a point where I need to just shut it off? Yeah. Where my idle time is actually becoming just habitual, and those who maybe struggle with habitual kind of sin or struggles or whatever it is, you know exactly how easily that can grip and how hard it is to break. And so I want to challenge and encourage our idle time, really to even say what's your life about? What's your day about? Like if you were going to do the one most very important thing today, what is it? Like if it's being discipling your family, bringing in, what is that? And every decision and everything you do and everything you think about should be towards that one thing. When it's about nothing, when it's just about whatever comes our way, I think we're kind of like pudding that just kind of splats everywhere and just kind of goes anywhere into all the crevices, and we find ourselves in trouble. Whereas when you're directed towards something, you can move in that direction. Yeah. It seems odd to say, but like there's sermons on our website from previous months. There's an amazing sermon kind of middle of January where Lyndon gets into this whole series about soul talk and what are you about? What is your life about? If you were to be just about one thing today, what is it? And is it the most important thing in your life? And if it's not, then you need to be a little bit tougher on yourself. And I'm not talking about just adding one more thing or adding more rules or saying we got to fight the system or we got to do all these different things. I'm more saying to have an honest conversation with yourself to say, what's my life about today? And I stole that from Pastor Lyndon, and I thank you for those words.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's a good challenge. It makes me think of Paul's words, right? To be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Yeah. And sometimes, you can sit at home in the evening and you can scroll through Netflix and realize that, there's really is there any enriching content on there? And maybe some. I'm not going to say there's nothing there. Probably a good documentary or two. But some of you are readers, and some of you need to be readers. I know I probably fall more into that latter category where I should be reading more. It certainly would be better for my my mental health and my just overall sense of things. And so to kind of take us down that transforming our minds road, I was looking for a book yesterday, and I love my Kindle. I don't mention it a lot. I'm not sponsored. That's why. I'm sure I would not shut up about my Kindle if they paid me money. So, hey, Bezos, come on. But you can get the reading app for free. It's on my phone. It's on my tablet. It's on my desktop. And I do have a Kindle that I love. And so I was looking for a book yesterday, and then what I quickly found is there is a whole ton of classic Christian works by authors like Moody and Spurgeon and a whole ton of guys that are actually free, like a bunch of R.C. Sproul. He goes through a whole theological, each little book answers one big theological question. Like he's got and it's free. So if you're kind of at home and you're going, oh, the libraries are all closed. I've read through everything on my shelf. I don't know what to do. There's a lot of great options. And so we're going to put some links in the description of this video that if you're just looking for something new to read, check it out. If you've got a couple bucks to spend, there's some really great options too that's a little more current. Eugene Peterson has a whole theological work, less than $3. Mark Clark, his book, The Problem of God, which is an awesome apologetics book. Yeah. It's on for $4 right now. And which is $4 well spent. If you've got questions about faith, or you're trying to figure out how to talk across the fence with your neighbor about faith to answer some of their questions, it's $4 well spent. I found that C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity, if you're like, I'd love to get into Lewis, but I didn't have the time before, it's $1. 99 cents to read that. And then I found you can
I would add Screwtape Letters to that.
Yeah.
I love that book. I think it's actually extremely poignant for our time because it talks a lot about, what are you doing with your idle time and your mind and what are you letting in?
Yeah. And I don't know if Screwtape Letters is specifically in this one, I suspect. Also, I found the complete works of C.S. Lewis, a whole 4,054 pages for $1.54.
Okay, so that also, if you're maybe not a big reader, but your kids love hearing books or stories at the end of the day, we've been, as a family, quite often we will go through Narnia.
Yeah.
It's been such a good thing for us to kind of end our day with. To go through some of Narnia as a family. It's so good if you have kids in the mid to late elementary, even right into junior high. It's excellent.
Yeah, no, absolutely wonderful. We would often, in our long drives, listen to audiobooks. Now, of course, we're not doing long drives anymore, but Sheena reads with the kids every night.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's part of their bedtime routine. And so, yeah, bring some Narnia into that.
Yeah.
And, so anyways, all we're trying to say is there's no good excuse for not reading. And because if you're like, oh, there's lots of great options, and we'll help you get connected with that. If you're just like, I just don't know how to do that, call us up. We'll help you figure out. And if Amazon's not your thing, if it's not Kindle, then I'm Kobo. I'm sure there's free or discounted books there. Google Reads. What else? I don't know. I think Apple has their own thing. I don't pay attention to Apple very much these days, but they've got their own Apple books too. And
Google Play.
Yeah,
there's lots
exactly.
of free classic works on there.
For sure. There's lots of great. Now I'll warn you, because you can do the deep dive into free Christian books, and you're going to find garbage. And so I always use discernment, people. That's the most important thing, is to use discernment in whatever you read. Just because it's published doesn't mean it was worth publishing. Kind of like books these days are sort of like internet blogs. Anyone can publish anything. It doesn't have to be peer reviewed. So that's probably why I would steer more towards the Christian classics, which can be a little harder to read.
Yeah. But they've stood the test of time.
They've stood the test of time, and and that's why they're classics. And it maybe there's tons of biographies too. Hudson Taylor's biography was free. Works of John Bunyan, if you really want to go old school, and lots of stuff in there. And so get reading it if you're suddenly finding yourself something needing to get your mind working.
Maybe even the flip side of that we're trying to say is I remember being on Facebook and going past the same story 6 times. Yeah. Is there really that much new stuff that we need to be calling attention to? I think it's maybe just trying to limit. Let's cut back some of those margins that's really taking up a lot of our idle time throughout the day, because we got lots of time. We all have 24 hours in a day, and we're just encouraging you to use it to the absolute best and to the absolute glory of God in everything that you do today. So be encouraged today. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, now get off YouTube and go do something healthy for your brain. All right?
Thanks for watching this video.
Anyways, we'll check in with you later.